Hey YouTube, today we're going to be showing you a demonstration of the MSR Whisperlite backpacking stove. We decided to come down to the coasts of here in Rhode Island, and since it was a beautiful sunny day, and decided to make a video too, so I hope you enjoy it. We certainly enjoy making them for you. First thing you see is obviously it's not a stove, it's a pot. But the reason why I got this pot is, which is also made by MSR, the stove fits perfectly inside of it. So it does keep it safe while it's in a backpack. So when it's all folded up, compact, this is what you see. And inside, you get the siphon that you put into a fuel bottle. Here, keep this clean. So it's just got 3 legs. You'll see that when the hose folds up on it, it's got a hook, keeps all the legs all together. And just put all your legs in place. And we tried to find the most level surface as we could, but we're on the rocks. So fuel bottle, this is the smaller one. It's got a locking cap. They're all graded for fuel. Put your siphon in. Once you screw on the siphon onto the tank, you want to pump it up initially. Just always make sure that the fuel line is closed. Obviously you're just going to get fuel everywhere. And then just give it a few pumps so you can initially start the stove. Now this hook needs to latch onto this groove into the plastic. So let's see if I can get this done correctly. And that's what's going to keep the fuel bottle attached to the fuel line, so you're not going to get into any accidents. Now, you'll notice a couple things here. This kind of stove here has a priming cup, and it's got a priming wick in the inside. What that's supposed to do is, once you fill this with just a little bit of fuel and light it, it's supposed to heat up the fuel generator. What that'll do is, in fact, you'll see a little hole here. You're not supposed to see liquid squirting out of this. In fact, what the generator does is it superheats the gas, so it turns it into an actual gas and pushes it out the top of the stove. Initially, when you open up the fuel line, you're going to see that there's going to be a tiny stream of fuel, and what that's going to do is collect in the bottom priming cup. Hopefully we can get this done in this wind. There it is. Now you don't need much fuel at all, just to wet the wick. If you find that you did too much fuel, then just gotta dump out some of the spare fuel that you have in the priming cup. You know you got too much when that cup is more than half full. At least that's what I found in my experience. So obviously, if you're gonna have to dump out any excess, you don't want to dump it out where you're actually gonna be lighting the stove, or else you're just gonna have a massive fire all around you. Then what you do is have to light the priming cup. Now hopefully in this wind there's going to be enough heat to get into that the generator. It doesn't look like it's going to be too much of a problem. You know, some of the Coleman fuel stoves, you know, they're easy enough to light on the inside if you absolutely have to do any type of gas cooking like this indoors. Obviously it's definitely advised against. This is one of those stoves I would never risk lighting on the inside. You can see that it can create quite a bit of fire initially to even start the stove. The only way that you can get around the initial priming wick is if maybe you had a blowtorch where you can actually heat up some of the fuel in this line, but you would put the torch on the generator itself. Now, once it looks like the flame is reaching a minimum there, that's usually when there's enough heat to be able to start the stove. And it looks like that's done. So I'm going to open up the fuel line. And it looks like we've created enough heat in order to prime it. Now, just because you see a fire at the top doesn't mean you're done. You don't really want to see much of the you don't want to see much of that orange flame. Ideally, you just want to see some of that blue flame. So I don't have the fuel line all the way open. I wouldn't want to do that just yet. I'm just going to let this go for a couple more minutes. Then I'll start to open up the fuel line a little bit more. Well, while we're waiting for this to heat up a little bit more, a couple things about it. Main use is going to be its backpacking. The fuel type, obviously liquid. The fuel that it uses, which actually this is why I went for this stove, is it's got the white gases, which it's burning right now. It can take kerosene, jet fuel, regular unleaded, diesel fuel, and so since it's so universal, that makes it the most useful stove, at least in my opinion. The burn time with the white gas, the average, well, as far as the boil time, you're looking at about just under 4 minutes. With white gas, I think it's the most efficient for this. I think you can achieve that with also the regular unleaded. And but if you're using diesel or kerosene, it's going to be a little bit longer, but I couldn't see by much. You're able to simmer with it. Some of the things that they give you with it, you get a carrying bag, you get these foil heat deflectors, one that goes underneath, one that goes all the way around. When I bought the stove, I initially got the small bottle. I just wanted to really see, you know, just trying to be a minimalist when I'm backpacking. And what I found was I was able to cook all night long with this. Plus, also when I was camping with it, it was in a location where you couldn't have any type of open burning. Since I'm trying to follow that rule, I was able to use this in place of a campfire all night. This entire canister. Granted, by the end of the night, the canister was empty, but it was able to take care of all my cooking and as far as my heating purposes all night long. All right, now that this has been going for a couple minutes, you can feel free to open up the line. And that is burning full steam ahead. At this point, probably give it a few more pumps. You really see it starts to kick up. So this here doesn't have to go all the way down. This is really a full steam ahead here, so I'm going to back this down a little bit. Go in one direction. One direction again. If you push and held this in, eventually it'll just stay down. Except not today. So overall, you're able to adjust the flame, so it's really good for simmering. It lasts a long time. At least in my experience, at least with this bottle here, which is just it's an 11-ounce bottle. I was able to get a full night's worth of burn time on this, but of course that wasn't the full flame potential. So overall, I've got to say I've used it, I'm experienced with it in the mountains. As far as altitude, it was about 4,000 feet. So, but it was able to maintain all night. One other thing is that you're going to see that this metal cup around it, when you have this on for a long period of time, it's going to come red hot. And it's nothing to worry about. Don't touch it. It's pretty much my only advice. That kind of goes without saying. but it's not going to do any damage to it. But yeah, that's pretty much it. So thanks for your time. Thanks for watching.